In this video, we're going to break down a sales call live, play-by-play. Hi, my name is Cole Gordon, and I own a sales training and recruiting company that's pacing right now about 25 million per year, almost 30 million per year. And what we're going to do in this video is we are going to break down from a sales rep, one of their sales calls, live, play-by-play. Now, what we're going to cover in the sales call specifically is the 7 beliefs the prospect has to have to buy. We're going to cover the importance of energy, tonality, certainty, and how to cultivate conviction, also how to cultivate better tonality overall. We're going to talk about how to identify the pain, widen the gap, and ultimately be able to position your solution better based on the specific prospect's needs, wants, desires, etc. We're going to talk about the 3 different types of tonality, which ones are best, and when to use the 3 different types depending on where you're at in your sales call. And finally, we're going to talk about how to get into the proper mindset before you start your call. So this is going to be a real treat. You're going to see I really focus most of my time with this sales rep in terms of training on the intangibles. So not as much the scripting, but how this person is showing up, their energy, tonality, confidence, certainty, and just ultimately how to lead the conversation better and show up in a totally better way. Now, I do get into the nitty-gritty scripting and stuff like that as well, which I think you'll find really valuable, especially if you sell B2B, because this specific offer was a done for you, kind of done with you hybrid lead gen offer for insurance agents. So really cool stuff. We're gonna splice over to the video now and enjoy.
All right, man. Cool. Well, we're breaking down your call. We're already live in the group. So
Great.
anything you want to say about this call before we dive in?
Yeah, I think, I mentioned it, the one thing I feel like I'm having a little bit of trouble with is building some urgency with some of my calls lately, so that they'll act now rather than postpone till, okay, well, I'm ready on next week or next month, right? And so I think that's kind of been an issue. And then I feel like in this call is a little shaky in the beginning. I don't know why. It kind of took me a little bit to kind of get my feet underneath me for some reason. But that's the thing about all I have to say.
All righty, man. We'll see how she goes. Basically, and this is for everybody watching, there's 7 beliefs your prospect needs to have to buy. There's pain, doubt, cost, desire, money, supports, and trust, okay? So they have to have pain in believing they have a problem, doubt and believing that either they can't fix their problem on their own, or that they would take unnecessary time, resources, money, energy, etc., to fix the problem, opposed to comparing to just investing in the thing, right? Cost is what you're referring to. So cost meaning the cost of an action, it's long-term pain that they experience, the consequences, right? Both monetarily, emotionally, all of those different things. Desire is the compelling payoff if they fix the problem. Money is the resourcing and willingness to fix the problem. Support means that people around them, close to them, will support them in fixing the problem. And trust means they believe that your solution will help them fix the problem, right? Trust in the solution. And so we want our solution to be the simultaneous explanation of why everything they tried in the past has failed, and why this is going to be different. So let's get into this, see how you do. I already said this to the group, but essentially, we may not get through the entire call. I mean, it's a long call, right? Maybe we'll just probably work on discovery. We'll find some things that you can improve. And that way you have like 1 or 2 really actionable takeaways to move forward with, opposed to like giving you a poo-poo platter of like every little thing you did wrong, right? So let's just kind of go through this and see where we land, man.
Sounds great.
Man.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to meet you, Brandy.
Nice to meet you.
So where in the country are you calling from?
Houston, Texas.
Okay. Very good.
All right. She wants to get down to business. So get down to business. She ready?
How long have you lived there?
I've been in Houston about 15 years.
Okay.
I went to college here. And
I would have right here, I would have said, gotcha, are you finishing up a call? Because she looks like she's finishing up a call. So like, I know, like, see, even the way you said that, and you can tell by your body language, you're kind of like seeking for rapport here a little bit. It's like, I don't know, what's her name? Brandy? Yeah. I'd be sitting here still as a, I don't know, whatever, still is something. Still is whatever analogy you can think of. I'd be extremely like, still. This Brandy, what's up? And she's kind of like doing all this stuff. I'd be like, finishing up a call, busy day. I just it's just kind of what I'm observing. I'm calling out what I'm observing. Sometimes people have some really cool like things in the background. Like you might say, "Oh, what are those awards for?" You know, and that's about as deep as rapport building I'm going to do. Obviously, it seems like a kind of heavy business person type of thing. Kind of want to get down to it. That's cool. I'm the same way. So what I also would have done here, I would have said, looks like you're kind of finishing up, maybe she's finishing a call. Gotcha. Let me know when you're good in terms of organizing your stuff and you got a pen and pad. We're fully focused. We're ready to dive in. Like I'm just going to be, and this is kind of how I carry myself in really all interactions, but also like, especially on sales calls, I'm not going to say this directly, but through my energy and my tonality, I am going to really be the type of person who commands somebody's full attention. Right? Like to me, it's low value if you're starting the call and they're not giving you your full attention. Like to me, it's like, it's just very, very early on. It's just boom, we got to be here. Are we having a conversation or not? And I know that sounds like I'm kind of being like intense. I'm really not. Like that's just how I am. Like I want to connect with the person. I want to have a real conversation. I'm somebody who have a high self-esteem. I also, I want to respect the person. I want the person to respect me. So it's not coming from this like, well, here's how this call is going to go. And if this call doesn't go my way, I'm going to get mad and I'm going to boot off the call. Like we're not doing any of that stuff here. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I am somebody who like we need to be there together, and that starts from the very beginning. I expect that.
And I just never went back to Dallas. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
So.
Great. I hear lots of good things about Texas.
Okay. You're a little nervous.
Yeah, I don't know why. I was a little
Oh,
shaken.
you're nervous because she's doing this. She's like moving around. So you do one of these, right? Like the face touch, the neck, like that's a nervous thing, right? So essentially, like, dude, again, this has nothing to do with you. I mean, she probably haven't even looked at you yet, right? So it has nothing to do with you. All you got to do is just run, you have a sales playbook, right? You just got to run the playbook, man. It's a game. And so right now, again, like you don't need any approval from them. If you really believe you're the expert and the advisor and somebody who has the solution and the insight to the reason why they're stuck, which they never would have booked the call, they weren't stuck with something. But if you really believe you're somebody of value who can provide value, you're never going to be seeking rapport. Right now, your body language, your tonality, it's all seeking rapport. And we're like low key, like 15 seconds in the call here, right? So this is why like this type of stuff is, man, like it's really the thing, dude. So the big things I'm going to tell you already, mindset wise, write this down.
Yep.
Number one is I would really, when it comes to, this is insurance lead generation, yes?
Yes.
Okay. When it comes to lead generation and insurance lead generation, that's a very, like, it's not really that much of a world, right? Like we've got to really narrow it down. You're going to be some crazy business expert, but when it comes to insurance lead generation, become an expert. You can do that in like 3 weeks. Too. It's not that hard, right? If you just really dedicate to it, you're talking to these people and you're asking, I believe your founder's name's Joel Cowan, right? So you're asking Joel, you're like, yo, dude, I want to learn about this. Going through the, maybe as a course or some material, really studying it, man. Make it to flashcard, like get it down and understand what is the symptom level problems of the industry? What is the real reason why they're stuck? And what do these people also really want? And what keeps them stuck? What are they tried in the past that has failed? What is their current belief set? And what is the belief set of the people who are succeeding? Because there's two types of people. There's people who are winning in this industry. There's people who are not. What is the belief of the people who are not versus the people who the beliefs of the people that are winning? When you become educated with that and you have that insight, okay? It's so powerful, man. It makes selling way easier because now you don't have to just pump yourself up and believe you're a person of value. You are a person of value. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So when I sold insurance and when I sold real estate agents, I didn't even know, like, I mean, I was an idiot. Like I didn't know anything. I didn't know like the the brokerage gets a split, and then the agent and the buyer seller commission. I didn't know how any of that stuff worked. But over time, I was like, I'm gonna freaking find out how this shit works, one way or another. And I just asked questions, and I was driven, and I went through the content. And I just, also I talked to a lot of people, and I was very active and thinking, like, trying to figure this stuff out. And eventually, I was the expert, man. I was telling them what's up. When I sold coaching, I sold a product that was teaching coaches how to be coaches from coaches. And man, I was like, if this person was doing less than 50K a month, I was like, thank God this person's having a conversation with me, because I'm going to change their life. Yeah, I was really, really good. And I knew what I was talking about. I wasn't just like blabbering stuff. Like, I knew what to do. Like, I was smart, And now anybody who's doing less than $1 million a month, I'm like, thank God they're talking to me.
Yeah.
Maybe $2 million a month. Because I'm like, dude, I know I can get them to $1 million a month, So I'm not selling. I'm just like, I'm helping them think the right way to get to the results that they want. I'm not selling them on my product. I'm selling them on the way of thinking.
Right. Yep.
Does that make sense? So,
yep.
So yeah, like that'll shift your mindset a lot, right? Now, the other thing is too, like this, so that's like the main thing, right? Fundamentally, beneath that, what you need to do is like get some sort of routine. And the best way to do it is health and fitness, man. That's why like so many health and fitness people end up pretty good in sales, is because they kind of got that going, and then they like build on the other stuff. But it doesn't have to be like, working out or crazy. I mean, it could be yoga, whatever it was. But like, find like, I don't know if you have an exercise regimen or a health plan or whatever, but like get on something like that and like freaking like dominate it, because that's going to build up your self-esteem as a person. And self-esteem is relative. Like, you don't need to look like some dude on a magazine or, some girl on a magazine to have, self-esteem. That's all I'm saying. Like, it's self-esteem comes from saying you're going to do something, doing it, proving you can do it, and repeating that again and again and again, and just building this consistency of momentum. So if you want your calls to be good and you want your calls to be impeccable, make what's outside of your calls impeccable, right? And live your life to an extreme high standard. When you could do that, you go to bed at the same time every night. You wake up at the same time every day. You do the same morning routine. It includes a little bit of reading, meditation, exercise, right? And you're just nailing that every single time. You're eating healthy. You're drinking a lot of water. I mean, and you're making those commitments to yourself, and then you're fulfilling those. You're saying, I'm going to go through this amount of sales training a day. I'm going to listen to 2 calls of recordings of what every single morning. Build crazy momentum. It's also part of the reason why, like, even if you have tons of calls coming on into your calendar, it's also why, like, I would still prospect every day. It just builds this muscle, and it makes you feel like a killer. Right? Part of sales is becoming the person who is high value enough for the person to want to buy from. Like, people want to buy from me because I have high value, at least in this industry, and I have high self-esteem, and I have insight to be able to do. So become the person. Does this make sense? So yes. What we're covering right now is like, I didn't tell you anything in terms of what to say or any of this shit. What we're covering is the deep inner work that one must do in sales to become great. Does that make sense?
Totally. 100%.
Cool, bro. All right, man. Because number one, see, it's like I always address this stuff first, because it's like, man, this is like the main thing, and then we're gonna get into other things later. So, but dude, if you just do this, like, if I can, the great thing about this is if you really attack everything I just said, it will never make you worse. Sometimes when I give you language, I give you things to say, you overthink it, and then it makes it worse.
Sure.
Right? But that will not make, that will not make you worse. It actually improve other areas of your life. You'll feel good. So first things first. That's the first thing to focus on. Now let's continue in this a little bit.
Drove across the Panhandle once, but that's my exposure to Texas.
That's it?
Yeah.
It's a lot more to Texas.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Yeah. I live in upstate New York, so I'm quite a ways away from you guys.
Yeah, it's cold there, huh? Starting to get cold there already, or not yet?
It's chilling. It's starting to get cool in the evenings. In the mornings, it's around like high 50s, and then in the afternoons though, it's still close to 70. So that's okay. Nice.
Okay. You're just a little fidgety. You're just nervous, dude. That's gonna be the main thing, right? So it's not urgency; it's energy. At the end of the day,
right?
So like, with this lady, man, like she's more rock center than you. She's confident. It seems like, at least, I don't know. Confident. She's a little bit more grounded. You're a little bit more kind of like doing one of these, and you're like, you kind of see like doing one of those. You're just a little bit like, dude, you just gotta roll with it, man. Like, have fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember, some of the big things that helped me with sales, I always used to review. It was 3 things, and to be candid, it's been so long that I might have forgotten what some of these are. But I'm going to go through them, and maybe they'll come to me. I used to review these 3 rules before every call. Okay. One of the rules was a flawless execution of the process. Okay. Flawless execution of the process. So in terms of my sales process, I'm just going to execute this thing. Like, I'm just going to try to leave this call being like, dude, I left it all in the field. I had the best call I could have freaking ever had. All right. Number 2 was have fun. Because if I'm not looking forward to this call, if I'm not enjoying the process of the flawless execution of the process, I can never get in flow state. And plus, like, who wants to do this if it's not fun? Like, I want to close. My mentality was, listen, I'm going to make $20,000, $30,000 a month. I'm going to have a fucking blast, and I'm going to help a lot of people. Right? When you have that mindset, each call is just this fun conversation, and you're just going to flawlessly execute this process to the best of your ability, but you were independent of the outcome. It's very easy to get in the flow state. That's the key. So actually, the 3 rules were this. It was ruthless independence of the outcome, flawless execution of the process, never forget to have fun. I always used to think of those 3 things before every single call.
So what was the first one again? Ruthless independence of the outcome?
Ruthless independence, or
Yeah.
Maybe it was ruthless detachment from the outcome. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Flawless execution of the process. Never forget to have fun. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you could just see, like, let me just ask you, knowing what you know about me now, between my mindset and how I was thinking about the call and my overall standards, self-esteem, my energy, how I'm showing up day to day in my life, do you see how even saying the same exact words you're going to be able to say on the call, I'm going to get probably a little bit different results than you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Right? This is the 80-20. This is how you but dude, this is how you get really good.
Yeah. And I came into this week with a whole different mindset. This was from last week. And I kind of, thought a lot about, the last week over the weekend, and came with a different attitude to this week. And already, like, the response on the calls has been 100% different. Like, my mindset is different, attitude is different. So yeah, I agree with 100% everything you're saying, and I'm going to do, take everything you said and kind of amplify that and add that into my routine.
Beautiful. All right, man. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we still in the 80s all day, morning, noon, and night.
It's blazing hot down there. Yeah. Cool. All right. So,
She's looking to you. She's like, you get going or what?
thanks for jumping on the call. I appreciate it. Before we get started, just a quick question. Did you have to see any of our videos, or maybe the video that we sent over to you? Did you have a chance to look at those?
I definitely did not look at the one in the email. I know I saw it when it came through.
Okay.
But I did watch the one that was on the website. I think after I selected a time, there was a video.
Right. That's right. And
Okay, so a question like that can give you some valuable information. However, I almost don't even like asking it, because like my mindset is like, they don't even have, like, they don't need to watch that for them to buy from me. I'm just like, it's almost irrelevant at this point. So maybe you can ask it to kind of see maybe what their temperature is in terms of maybe how much they know about what you're going to say on the call, I guess. But I would never let that get into your head. Let's continue.
Yeah, what I do is like that. After I ask that question, the next, I asked that question. The follow up is, what stuck out to you?
Yeah,
And
sure.
I kind of feel like that. I think you knew that's what to say, but that helps you kind of figure out kind of what their focus is on, what got them on the call, right? What was exciting to them, and where I need to make a little probably extra focus later on in the presentation.
Yeah, I mean, that's not necessarily bad to do.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wouldn't let, like, oh man, they didn't watch the video. Like, I wouldn't let that get to your head.
that was particularly interesting to you?
Well, mainly, I know how to do funnels and I know how to do all of these things, but I don't have the time to do it.
Okay.
Right. So what particularly even made me look at you guys, the system, is because I want to say on the ad, it looks like you guys have branded. So I have a tax business and we use a software called Tax Nitro. And so Tax Nitro, the system looks very similar to the Tax Nitro system. Now, granted, we branded our Tax Nitro system, but that's the name of the software that we utilize for leads, websites, things like that. And so that is what caught my initial attention. Was like, oh, they look similar to what we use on a daily basis for my tax business. And so that's what made me click it, because my thought was, okay, well, let me just get more information and go from there.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, you really didn't get anything valuable there. So now you're going to have to frame the call.
Cool. All right. Well, let's kind of dig in then. So, thanks again for joining the call. I kind of like to keep things conversational, kind of relaxed, right? I'm going to ask you some questions about your business to kind of figure out, what's going really well for you, what sort of challenges you're facing, what's keeping you from trying to move forward. And then,
It looks like you're reading the script too. I mean, this is a part. I gotta do this. Put my computer in here. This is a part you should know, like, you should like really know this part. Okay. So like, you should never have to be like looking at the screen. At least that's like, maybe you're not reading from the script. It just kind of looks like you are, at least.
Yeah, I wasn't, but it does look like it. Absolutely. You're right. I have to change that.
and kind of want to recommend something that's not 100% good for you or 100% good for us as well, right? And all I ask is that you answer honestly, and I think based upon what you tell me, if it looks like a good fit, then I can run through, do a little walkthrough with you, and share my screen, show you like the whole process that we do. We'll just go from there. Sound cool? Okay, great. So
Yeah, I mean, that was okay. I mean, there's not a whole lot that does or doesn't do. Personally, man, if it was me, after you ask those questions, what stuck out to you, whatever, right? I usually say something along the lines of, gotcha. Well, like, look, totally understand why you reached out. A lot of what we do is all customized. So at this stage, I know a little bit about your business, but it's kind of like a 30,000 foot view. So at this stage, I think what probably is going to make the most sense is let me kind of dig into your offers, your price points, how the business is operating now, where the constraints are within the business. And then if we can help, we can definitely dive into that, what we got going on over here. Or if not, I'll forward you to somebody else. Fair enough? So you see how, even how I said that, it was just, I just riffed off that like, randomly. But you see how that was more conversational, a little bit more natural, but I'm still setting the agenda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not like when you sound a little bit rough, it triggers, at least in this is a salesperson. They sell insurance, right? So
Yes.
This is a salesperson. They've done a little sales training, right? They think they know also sales training. They like to tell you that too, right? But it triggers like, so like, I kind of like to make that sound as conversational as possible there. And that's what I like to say. It's a little bit different from what people typically say. But granted, what you said wasn't terrible or anything. It wasn't that bad, but it definitely didn't do anything for you.
Okay.
let's just start. Tell me kind of, what sort of challenges that you're having in your business. What prompted you to reach out to us?
So
Yeah, just make sure, so probably, I just think your tonality, the big thing here, big takeaways, energy, tonality, right? So takeaways. And I'll even throw in like a little self-esteem, and I don't mean that in like a negative way or anything. I just, it's could be day to day and how you're feeling. So again, we just kind of work on it a little bit. It's gotcha. So probably the best place to start. So Jeff, what would you say right now is, I guess, like the biggest challenge in the business, or like what's not working at the level you truly feel like it could be or that it should? So a little bit more direct. You see how I have the cadence and, see how that's going on. I just especially that question, because you're saying it every freaking time, you can really optimize for that.
Yeah.
I am, because I have multiple businesses. Let's start there. I have several businesses. I do life insurance for Primerica Financial Services. Of course, it requires us to recruit. Recruiting is the lifeline of our business, obviously, because that leads you to more leads or potential life insurance policies and so forth, or referrals, if you will. And so we usually recruit first and then do life insurance. If they're not interested in the recruit section or portion of our business, then we get them to do the life insurance and the investment portion of the business. Where I don't even know that I'm really struggling. I think I just know in order for me to elevate, I think so. I've been in the business. I started 2 years ago. Yeah. I quit and I came back. And when I came back, I already knew that when me coming back, I needed to do the website. I needed to do a funnel. I needed to automate the entire thing. Okay. And I haven't done it. It's been since June. the indigent. And I don't have time to do it because I have other businesses. And life insurance and investment is just an additional or add-on to what I'm already doing with taxes.
Got it.
So I have tax clients. Those tax clients do need the services, but I can't solely rely on my tax clients for their business because a lot of those people, you know, they work jobs, half of them work, half of them don't work, right? If you don't work, then I don't want to put life insurance on somebody that doesn't work because I don't want a chargeback, right? Things like that. So that clientele doesn't necessarily fit with, you know, the life insurance and the target market of people that we recruit for my life insurance business. So I know that I need to, you know, get outside the box.
Okay. Got it.
Okay,
That
real
makes
quick.
sense.
So
And you said-
like, what she said there wasn't, at least to me, maybe you're like, oh yeah, I see this shit every day. And you probably kind of do as you have a lot of these conversations, right? That's the advantage of talking to the same person every single time. But essentially, okay, so this person, right? Insurance, several businesses. I say, okay, just to clarify, you said several businesses. Can you just list them out for me real fast? You said, yeah, the insurance, right? You have, obviously the insurance has two parts, you recruit, and then you also sell the insurance. But you have that business, you have the tax business. Was there anything else that I missed? Gotcha. Now for context, what makes you the majority of your money?
Mhm.
And also for context, in terms of this call, you're most focused on right now growing the insurance business, right? You're most focused on things that are going to help the lead generation of your insurance. Yes? Like, yes. Now, if the tax is more and the insurance is less, right away, what I'm going to ask is, I'm just going to straight up ask, because like, look, people, they're not going to, like, if this is making them the most money and this is really not making them the most money, they're probably not going to invest a lot to this. You know, this is where they're making the most money, right? And this is what's most important to them. So I'm going to be like, okay, well, if this is making you the most money and this is not really making you any significant at all, I guess what has you wanting to really invest in this and fix parts of this business opposed to just kind of focus on the other side, right? I mean, that's the number one thing I'm going to ask, because I want to find what that reason, desire is behind that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, another thing I'm wondering here is like, and maybe you know this is your market. She said recruit, then life insurance. So is this like a life insurance thing that's like got a direct sales model to it?
Yeah, I think she was with First Family Life. Yeah, so the agents sell and also recruit new salespeople and train them, and they get residuals from those other agents that they bring into the company. Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and so sometimes they're conflicted. They're like, you know, and they ask me, like, should I be focused on leads? Should I be focused on recruiting?
Do you help with recruiting or not?
We have done it in the past. It's not something that we.
That's not your primary thing?
That's right. Primary is leads. That's
Lead.
right. But we
Right.
can and have help recruiting.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Insurance Agent.
Yeah.
Right? You're asking me, should you focus on leads or recruiting? But let me ask you, if you were a recruit, would you rather go to the guy with all the leads or none of the leads, but has a big recruiting promise?
And that's what I say to them.
You want to go to the guy with the leads, right?
Yeah.
So look, we have to
lead from the top.
Yeah, we want this binary thinking of should we do this or this, but really we need to get the leads so that we have the recruiting power. That's
Yeah.
the one thing that if figured out, we'll figure out everything else. Does that make
Right.
sense? They're like, yeah. So
and
let's
they're
have
making-
this conversation on the leads.
Yeah, they're making 50,000 a month in insurance sales. The people are going to fall over themselves trying to join their team. So, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
You need to automate. Tell me more about that.
So she says she needs to automate. Okay, right away, my next question, I would ask all those background questions. Like that's how I get context. Because like I have to have a full understanding what's going on before I start trying to dig in, or I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing, you know? So like I put the onus on them to help me understand their stuff, you know, at first. Now, once I understand what I'm gonna do, I have all of my background. Now we gotta check off this first belief, right? Because we gotta get to the pain. Now, she says this stuff, I can just tell with this is also an intuitive thing. I used to sell insurance agents too. She just needs a funnel. She doesn't have the time. Whatever, dude. Basically, she needs leads. Like that, it's just one of those things where, if I'm not mistaken, this person doesn't have appointments. That's it. Okay. They need leads. Now, she says she doesn't have time to do the lead thing. We'll deal with that. I'm sure your solution has areas around it where you can, is it done with you or done for you?
It's done with you, really.
Yeah.
But closer to the done for you. Like we set up the all the marketing, all the
So the way
copy and
it's,
all that.
I understand what it is. So the way it's positioned is like it's almost done for you, but instead of you having to pay us heinous fees every single month, and then we like, we basically own all your leads, and if you don't pay us, your business goes away. We implement the system in your business, so you internally control it. Control it internally, and we teach you how to be able to run the system.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That sounds more valuable. So you got to watch out with done with you, because it's like sometimes that has a negative connotation to it, to where now they feel like it's like coaching.
Mm.
This is like we're implementing the system inside of your business. Right? It is. I mean, and you can even say it is done for you. Right? That doesn't mean there's stuff. I mean, there's going to be some materials and some work you're going to have to do. Like, I mean, that is going to have anybody who tells you there's not stuff you have to do on your end, is
Yeah.
part of the line, right? So, I mean, you might have to say something like that, but right away, man. So energy, tonality, we go into background first. And then dive into the problem. Now, once we dive into the problem, remember the framework goes problem, we isolate problem. We tell them to help us expand on that problem, and then we chunk it down. Okay.
So with my tax business, for us to get
This has been helpful so far.
Yes. Very helpful. Thank you. It's great.
All right, man. I have a habit of like talking a lot and not getting very far into the call. So hopefully we'll get into a little bit of the meat and potatoes here of the fancy sales stuff.
it's like that. So that clientele doesn't necessarily fit with the life insurance and the target market of people that we recruit for my life insurance business. So I know that I need to get outside the box.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. And you said you need to automate. Tell me more about that.
So with my tax business, for us to get leads, like I said, we utilize Text Nitro. We run Facebook, Instagram ads, of course. Usually tax season is only for those 4 months, but granted, we set up funnels, right? Our things doesn't make people give us their name, just a phone number. One of the things that you mentioned in the video that you have to contact that person within at least 30 minutes to an hour after getting that lead information. So we do that, right? And I have to automate my life insurance completely. Now, granted, my tax business has been set up, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4. We relaunch ads over the same ad from last year, right? Changing out the picture and putting another one, same verbiage, same content, and just relaunching it depending on, what the child tax credit is this year versus last year, right? So I need help, setting up a successful funnel. Some of it's gonna be successful. I do understand that you're gonna have to put ad dollars and stuff like that into the budget. But again, I just need help setting it up because I don't know how. It's been too long.
Okay, yeah,
Okay. So right then and there, the doubt is good.
makes sense. Great. And then, okay, so you got your insurance business focusing on life, and then what's the goal for the insurance business? Where do you want to get that to?
So I
So that's fine to ask, but we'll see. That might be a little bit premature right now, but it's fine.
like to push 400 grand, which is very easy, can be very easy if you have leads or if you have the right type of people, right? Granted, I'm looking for people that want to make money, right? Whether it is part-time or full-time, but there are a lot of people out here that are actually licensed and they're not using their license because they don't know how. Where people figure it's hard to go out and get clientele. It's not really hard for me to go get clientele. I mean, I've been maintaining my business every month, making $5,000 a month since June. So it's not that I have a hard time. I just want to go ahead and scale and get it over with. But I know a part of scaling is going to require some automation because again, I have my hands on other things. And so with having a team of people, I have people that can train these leads. Let's just say if I said this, get this automated and I get leads, I have licensed people on my team that can train or call and close the deal. But these people are signed up, I don't have the time to prospect. And that's a part of it. If you want to grow fast, you got to prospect. You can't be scared. And I just don't have the time.
Got it. That makes sense.
I mean, I'm doing it now, but I need my time. I need more freedom. Right now, I need to change things. So I don't know how my business is going to become my insurance business. Like I said, I'm actively prospecting. I'm also teaching my current life insurance agents how to prospect, how to recruit, how to do those things. But January, January, February, March, I'm going to be full-fledged running a tax office, not just one, but we have 5. So you're talking about 600 clients, roughly average per office. And it's not that I sit in those offices and physically do taxes, but I do manage the operations, if you will, right? When there's questions, when we have customers with issues, different things like that. So it still is going to require a lot of my time for 4 months. But again, I don't want to lose the momentum in my insurance business that I have now because of how demanding tax season is going to be for me this year.
Right. Okay. So it sounds like things are going fairly well right now in the insurance business. So where are you getting your leads from right now?
Social media, me going live, just people following me and the credibility that I have with people and family and friends sharing my posts, that type of thing. And so I have a lot of people inquire.
Okay. So I'm gonna teach you this real fast because this is just brings me back to the old days. So like you get background first, you get full understanding, and then you really need to dive into what the problem is. She says all this stuff, right? Dude, it's leads, right? At the end of the day, it's leads. Okay,
Right.
great. Now we isolate the problem, it's leads. Okay. Now, usually once you isolate the problem in any situation, the next thing is a few probing. Okay, well, tell me more. And you kind of did that. Okay. So then what happens is so you tell me more, whatever. And then you ask the question you just asked now, how are you currently generating leads? And this is very typical. What they say is they say like 9 different things. And really like none of them work, but they're like, well, I do multitude of different things. So it's like, we do social media, we do pay per lead, we do this, we buy from this source, referrals, of course. I work by sphere of influence, I make these amount of calls a day. It's like, and then you're like, well, how is that working out? They're like, oh, that's good. Yeah, I just kind of want to figure out what you do. You really don't get down to the truth of what's really going on. So this is what you do. Okay. You isolate the problem. You do your expansion. And it's how are you currently generating leads right now? They say a million different things. It doesn't matter. You say, okay, that's great. A lot of stuff going on there. Let's just drill down to see exactly how that's working for you so we have a baseline. Maybe you do this, Jeff, because I think you've been doing training, but how many leads?
Yeah.
Did you, or you don't say leads, you say how many appointments, sales appointments did you generate last month? Okay, great. What about the month before? We're only going to go 2 months back. Okay, great. Last month, month before. How many? Now, then you ask this one. You say, gotcha. Now, who exactly is the perfect type of client for this product that you're looking for? They say whatever they're going to say, right? Who exactly, what you're looking for? They say whatever. Gotcha. Cool. Now, how many of the X people that you spoke with in the past 2 months fit the bill of that exact type of perfect avatar you just mentioned? They're gonna be like, very few. So what happens here? How many sales appointments did you generate you can say last week, last month, whatever you want to say. Last month. Like, 9. Okay, what about the month before? 15. Gotcha, so 24 in the past 2 months. Got it. Oh, and just for context, who would you say is like your perfect client? Like if I wave a line to be the best person in the world for you to sell to, who is like that dream kind of client for you? They say whatever they oh, it's something like this. I'm gonna work with these people. Blah, blah, blah. And you say, okay, great. So how many of those 24 people you spoke with in the past 2 months fit the bill of that exact type of person you described? They're like, well, 2. Oh, why do you think that is? Right? Typically, we find it's one of 2 things. It's typically either a channel issue or it's a messaging issue. It's a channel / targeting issue, or it's a messaging issue to where the targeting and the channel is right, but you're just not saying the right things in the ad to attract the people you really want to attract. So I guess which one of those 2, if any of you feel like it is? Right?
Yeah.
So then they say that. Then you say, gotcha. Well, out of those 24, how many did you close? Now, if it's a low conversion rate, you say, gotcha. Well, that's a lot of missed opportunity there. So just be honest with me. Do you think that's a sales process issue, or do you think it was a lead quality issue? Because it can only be one of those 2 things. So you closed 4, but out of the 20 who could have closed but didn't close, were they basically unclosable because of quality, or was there a breakdown in the sales process? Most of these guys will, I close everybody. So breakdown in the sales process. Or let's say quality, right? Because they close everything. Right. They're in these ninja closes. But whatever, you just play into it. So you say, okay, gotcha, cool. So I guess in terms of quality, again, it goes back to the quality thing. So you think it's a messaging issue. Tell me more about that. can you give me an example of like what you mean when you say that's a problem? Right. So now we're rechunking that down. Does that make sense? So we're doing that. And then, okay, so we closed 4 last month. Right. We closed 4 in the last 2 months. So how much did that make you in commission? I guess in other words, what's your commission per sale?
Right.
X, Y, they say X, Y, and Z, they break it down. And then you say, gotcha. So basically last month you made X, or what was your total income? Right? Now she has another business. And just for context, because if you had the choice, would you really want to just scale the insurance business and get rid of the tax? Or do you have this special thing to the tax? Like if this was making $500K a year, would you just be like, screw tax? Okay, gotcha. Well, what do you have to make just to replace the amount of income you're making from tax? Now I know we're income. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how does that compare to the month before? Boom. Now we have past 2 months. Right. We can say, okay, gotcha. Is that, and basically, so this year you're about this, or what is your total year to date commission, GCI?
Yeah.
They say whatever they say. So, and you can even throw in, okay, is that gross or is that net? Like what's net after expenses, taxes, et cetera? Like what is your actual take home?
Right.
They say whatever, right? Now there's all sorts of things you could do. If, they start throwing around like $3,000 a month, it's like $3,000 a month. Now that's your total income. Are you married? Do you have I'm just curious, are you married? Do you have a family? Oh, wow. You're obviously, you're an entrepreneur, you're hungry, you're out there, you're getting it. You got 2 kids. I mean, can I ask you a personal question? Like $3,000 a month. I mean, does that put you in a tough position financially, just balancing, the family and the business and everything and being relatively month to month? Yeah. In what way though? See what I mean?
Yep. Got it.
Does it make sense, dude?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. That's something I've been missing for sure right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you got to be like, you got to be in it, dude. You get like, you can't pull that one if you're not like confident and personable and like you don't got the rhythm going.
Right.
So you got to do that. But all this stuff you got to do, and down to it, like your energy and talking about it. Once we get kind of to the, not the rock bottom, but like this is how much they're making, lead generation's not working, we have it all in numbers. What we ask is, gotcha, and how long has your insurance business been at this level for?
Mm-hmm.
Say whatever, right? Gotcha. Okay. And I'm curious, like you mentioned earlier, you got out of insurance. Now you're getting back in, like after all of that time, like what prompted you to get back in now though? And what's really making you want to scale this to the next level? Have you tried anything in the past to be able to fix this, if anything?
Yeah. That's a question I asked for sure. That one.
Yeah.
And a little of the previous ones you talked about too. Yeah.
Usually it's how long we stretch it out.
Yeah.
Have you tried anything in the past to fix this, if anything?
Yeah.
Wow. Can I ask you a personal question? I mean, man, you've been trying to get your insurance business going for 5 years and you tried basically, you listen about every single thing I've heard of. So dude, what has you keeping on? What about getting this to, like you said, $30,000, $40,000 a month recurring for you is ultimately so important.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, is there anything else though that's important to you about getting this there?
Yeah.
And certain ones you can even throw in that. And can I ask you another personal question? I mean, and I really hate to ask this, but what's your plan if nothing changes? It's been like this for the past 5 years. What if it's like this for the next 5 years?
I ask that question every time. Your tonality obviously is way better than the way I ask it. So that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that tonality is everything, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's that. And then what I want to say is you go into goals, you do the goals, and then you really got to make sure like these people are also smart. It's not like we can just, I think some people think sales is like, well, you just ask all these questions and then like they just buy somehow. I mean, yeah, questions are important, but you got to like the pitch should be, again, I say this all the time, the simultaneous explanation of why everything they tried in the past has failed and why this is going to be different. So if you go through my pitch codex system, it talks about, here's what everybody else out there is doing. Here's the problem with that and why that problem is a problem and the consequences of doing it that way. So instead, we do it this way, which allows our clients to X so that they can X. Does that make sense? And it's really this educational insight thing to where they're like, fuck, like, this is why I was not working in the past or had suboptimal results in the past. And this is because of X, Y, and Z, you're going to crush it. Right. And they have to believe that like this thing is going to get them to freaking $20 a month. Right. Break it down in numbers, chunk that baby down. So big takeaways for you, man. Tonality, energy, certainty, self-esteem, getting after it, man. And then just like really lead these calls. You're the expert, you're the advisor, lead these calls. And chunk it down on the pain side, stretch out the time frame, build urgency, go desire. And then from there, make sure that pitch is dialed in.
Yeah.
Cool. Because I talk so much, we got to wrap it up here soon, man. But at the same time, I think that gives you a few takeaways in which you can just kind of like, it's pointed, you can get after it, you're good. And
Yeah, it's very helpful. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Alrighty, guys. We're going to wrap it up here, man. It's 5 p.m. my time, probably later your time, huh?
Yeah, almost 8.
Up late, man. Grinding. Good stuff. All right, guys. We'll see you in the group, and we'll see you in the next training.